you're an Australian citizen. Our job as an Australian government is to protect you and to look after you when you're away from home. That's our job. That's what they should have done. But what did they do instead? Just like you said, they locked the borders. They said, hey, Mr. or Mrs. Australian citizen, too bad for you. You can't come home.
I'm Topher Field, and today's guest is Senator Ralph Babet. We're talking Djokovic, we're talking deportations, we're talking about locking Australian citizens out of Australia during the pandemic. If you like this sort of content, remember to like, subscribe, and go to topherfield.net to join my email list so that I can keep in touch even if I'm deplatformed. Now here is Senator Babet. Well, Senator Ralph Babet, thank you so much for making the time. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, Topher. I'm very excited to be on your show. You first came on my radar back in the dark days of the lockdown under, our glorious chairman Daniel Andrews, and I've been watching your show, Battleground Melbourne. I actually had the privilege of seeing it live. Fantastic show. You gave hope to many, and I'm very proud and I'm very happy to be here with you today, mate.
Well, thank you. Look, I appreciate that. We certainly have the shared experience of having been in Afghanistan, and that's something that, it's like that, the last line out of Platoon, you don't know, man, you weren't there. It really is one of those sorts of experiences.
We were there. We lived through it. It was rough.
But look, we're not here to talk about our battle scars. We're here to talk about an equally absurd situation that happened at the federal level. Now, Novak Djokovic is making headlines right now. He just absolutely crushed Alex de Minaur and the hearts of many Australians along with that just the other night at the Australian Open in 2023. In 2022, of course, he was banned from coming into the country. Now, what's your understanding of the powers that the immigration minister used there? It's claimed that it was a paperwork issue, but I don't believe that was the case.
Well, at the end of the day, it wasn't a paperwork issue as many people might have originally thought. Now, a bit of background about Novak Djokovic, one of the most winningest players in the history of tennis, 54 majors, quarterfinals, 9 Australian Opens, 21 majors. He's actually won a record 25 straight Australian Open matches. I am a bit of a Djokovic fan. Full disclosure. Now, the immigration minister at the time, he actually decided, his name is Alex Hawke, Minister Hawke at the time in 2022 when Djokovic was ejected in sensational fashion out of Australia. He decided that the reason that he would eject Djokovic from the country was not for any paperwork issues or anything like that, but it was actually because Mr. Djokovic might incite or increase anti-vaccination sentiment, those are his words, or he might incite civil unrest. Those were the reasons that the immigration minister gave at the time for kicking Djokovic out of our country. A man who had already had COVID and recovered by the time that he got here to Australia. Now, he had already been approved to come here by Tennis Australia, by the Victorian government, because of his previous infection and having recovered. But when he got here, the Australian federal government stepped in and said, hey, you know what? Previous infection is not a valid reason for getting a medical exemption. You need to be jabbed at least once before we allow you to enter the country. Absolutely ridiculous, massive government overreach, I think. And today we know that if you've had a previous infection for COVID-19, well, you're basically covered. You've got more protection than what you have if you take the injection.
Yeah. Now, there's a lot of layers to this. It really sticks in my craw, this whole, he might incite the opposition, etc. I mean, I'm up on criminal charges of incitement. They're still ongoing with the Victorian government because I was encouraging people to exercise their human right to protest during the lockdowns, battlegroundmelbourne.com if you want more information about that. So this kind of idea that the government uses to say, we're going to punish you. In my case, we're going to charge you criminally. In Djokovic's case, we're going to kick you out of the country because you might encourage people to stand up and say the government is doing the wrong thing. That strikes me as deeply undemocratic, especially coming from the federal government.
It's not only undemocratic, it's dangerous, it's authoritarian, and I think it has no place in a country like ours. The government was very, very heavy-handed the entire time throughout the 2020s, 2021, and even into 2022. And Even now, in some industries, people still can't work. So at the end of the day, what was it about? It wasn't about, Mr. Djokovic could potentially come here and spread COVID-19. No, that's not what it was about. It was about this man has the potential to encourage other people to stand up for their rights, to say, to steal a phrase from the left, my body, my choice, to encourage people to potentially start saying these kinds of things in the street. That's what the government didn't want. They didn't want a challenge to their authority, a challenge to their rule. Now, I will remind people that this all happened under a Liberal government. A Liberal government is who did this. The Liberal Party did this. The Party of Freedom, supposedly, the Party of Menzies, the party that supposedly, values individual rights, free enterprise, and all these kind of things, all these niceties that they talk about on their website. For anyone who hasn't seen it, go onto their website and have a look at their We Believe statement. If you read that We Believe, I challenge everyone to press pause, go over and have a look right now. If you read that We Believe statement, the Liberal Party actually plays off as almost a party for the conservative libertarians in all of us. But really, in practice, that's not what they are, and that's not what they did to Djokovic, and that's not how they acted for years, and they still don't act that way today. So I think the days of the Liberal Party, the days of the Liberal Party, the days of all the major parties are actually coming to an end. They probably don't realise it yet, or perhaps they do, but, we do need change in this country, and, we do need to go in a different direction, and we need to step away from the Liberal Party, we need to step away from the Labor Party, and we need to find parties that actually care about us and care about our values and care about traditional Australian values, really,
All right. Well, Senator, I want to press a little bit deeper into the issue of what the federal government did. As you rightly point out, a Liberal Party, supposedly freedom, small government, lower taxes, etc. This is what they espouse. It's not what they do, but that's what they espouse. A Liberal Party chose to lock Australian passport holders out of Australia. This is where I want to go with this, because Djokovic got a lot of attention, but there are people whose lives were ruined, who are financially potentially never going to recover from what the federal government did to them, to Australian citizens. Can you break down a little bit of what happened at the height of their madness?
Look, at the end of the day, no Australian government should ever deny Australian citizens from coming home. It could have been handled in so many other ways, in such better ways. They could have said, look, go ahead and have your PCR test, as an example. If you're clear, come home. Or if you're not clear, if you need help, come home anyway. We'll put you somewhere in quarantine until we figure it out, but we're not going to keep you out of the country. You're an Australian citizen. Our job as an Australian government is to protect you and to look after you when you're away from home. That's our job. That's what they should have done. But what did they do instead? Just like you said, they locked the borders. They said, hey, Mr. or Mrs. Australian citizen, too bad for you. You can't come home. We don't care if you can't afford it. We don't care if you're running out of money, for example. We don't care if you've got to stay in a hotel. We don't care if you've got to live on the street, wherever you might be. Too bad for you. That's not what the Australian government should be about. The Australian government should care about the Australian people first and foremost. That's what they should do.
This strikes me as just a complete betrayal of trust, a complete betrayal of one of the most fundamental premises of citizenship. We are told that it's our responsibility to pay our taxes because of all the wonderful things that our government does for us. That's the narrative. I've got my own attitudes towards that, but that's the narrative. And here we see the Australian government with the gall to lock Australians out. How do we unscramble this egg, Senator?
Look.
How do we fix this trust issue?
Egg is scrambled. It's scrambled. It's got some bacon in there. It's got some onion in there. It's cooked. It's ready to.
Actually, that sounds quite nice.
The only way that we fix this mess that we're in, and we are in a mess, we're in a bind. The only way that anything gets better is if the average person at home that's watching this video shares this video, first of all, with their friends and gets their friends interested in what's going on in our country. But most importantly, the people watching this video right now have to take an interest in the political process. You got to take an interest. How many senators do we have in our country? We've got 76 senators. How many of those senators do you know by name? One of them, two of them, three of them, five of them maybe? What about the rest? If you know five of them, what about the other 71? What are they doing for you? So take an interest in who governs you. Take an interest in the laws that are passed, not just the ones that get media attention here and there, or, splash up on social media. You might see one here and there, but really have a look at it. And when the next election comes around, get involved. Join a party of your choice. It doesn't have to be the United Australia Party. It can be one of the other minor parties. But have a look for a party that aligns with your values and that are going to be if elected, are going to be going to Parliament and fighting for you. Stop voting for Labor. Stop voting for the Liberal Party. Stop voting for the Greens and that establishment mob, and choose parties that represent you. But most importantly, take an interest. Join a party. Join a party. Go to the meeting.
Unfortunately, that is all we have time for this time, but I do look forward to having you on again. And I didn't say this at the outset. I should have. Congratulations so much on your win. We actually haven't had an interview since you became a senator for Victoria. I'm very, very pleased to see you in that seat, and I look forward to what you have in store for us in coming years.
Thank you, Topher. I enjoy all of your content. I'm a subscriber, and everyone who's watching this and not subscribe to guys like Topher Field. Show them some support, share their videos, hit the like button, leave a comment. That's all you need to do for now. And, I'll see you on the flip side, and I'm here to fight for you in Parliament every single day, and I'm accessible. Get on my Facebook and send me a message if you want to talk to me.
We'll make sure we include links on how to contact you in the show notes for this particular episode. Senator Ralph Babbitt, thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much for watching. I'm Topher Field, and I wouldn't be able to do this without the help of my incredible supporters. So go to topherfield.net, scroll down a little bit, and you'll see there's a couple of different ways you can support me and help me to do more of this sort of work. You can buy some merchandise, you can give a one-off donation by buying me a coffee through PayPal, or you can jump onto my Subscribestar and become an ongoing supporter. All of those links are available at topherfield.net. And don't forget to like, subscribe, leave a comment, and make sure you join my email list as well so that I can still keep in touch with you even when I do inevitably get cancelled. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video.